like to present computational thinking and especially modeling, which is a technical term from computer science, as a concept which can be proved to be very useful in learning actually not only ICT related topics, but any subjects. So if you think about how to use diagrams, how to use systematic approaches to learn complicated information, and how to learn difficult information, complex information, then actually this is the topic what we are talking about here and what we would like to show you. So and through the help of modeling, we would like to foster 21st century skills, problem solving, and text comprehension in different subjects. And also, of course, these can be also good preparation for programming if you want, but that's not actually the overall goal of this approach, but more how to use this high-end, up-to-date tool, which is all around us in learning any kind of subjects, and also how to use it to connect different subjects in the STEM or STEAM integration. So you can see a few people of this fantastic team whom I was really happy to work together with in this project. So the head and initiator of this project was Professor Barbara Sabitzer, who has a specialty in neuropsychology and language learning and also programming. And obviously she connected these approaches also in this project, and her fantastic team consisted of Heike de Marle-Mussel and Marina Rotenhofer, and their colleagues were really a fantastic asset for this project. And to mention also Gregorio Robles, who is a real expert of computational thinking and computational sciences. He's a professor of the Rey Juan Carlos University, and he has already very successful initiations like many programming tools made for education connected to his team. And Christian David Kuschig was also fantastic in the development of all the technical tools for this project. And of course, I was really glad to work in this project with my colleague, whom we run together a lot of STEAM projects. So Dr. Tiina Mäkelä from our unit from the University of Jyväskylä. These were the people in the core of this project. So as I mentioned, we have this website, computationalthinking.guru. You are welcome to check out, and you are also welcome to check back in the upcoming weeks time by time, because there are more and more materials will be uploaded. I would like to also invite you to our YouTube channel, where you can also find a growing number of very useful videos. Actually, these videos are in several languages, so in German, of course, Austrian, and also Spanish and Finnish, and also English materials you can find there. And please join this growing community on the Facebook. There are almost 400 people following Diagram Guru, so don't miss it. We hope that we can keep it alive also after this project has been closed. So innovative learning environments, this is the name of our team in the University of Jyväskylä. You can see my colleagues here, and also these mentioned STEAM projects are also outlined. So we are mostly concentrating on how to find connections between the physical and also the mental environments of learning, and how to use different tools and how to use different up-to-date approaches. So this computational thinking was really some diamond which was missing from our treasury, and it was really wonderful to add it with the help of this very relevant group. So you can see the map of Europe here, and also these countries which were collaborated. So we also happy to see that all other countries are also joining in to this initiation. And actually, if you check out the website, you will find also the structure of this project. You will find materials, you will find activity suggestions, and also a little bit theoretical background, which we found also missing, that what makes these different curricula all around Europe to be opened towards computational thinking. We at least try to make the first step into this direction, to explore this in terms of these countries. But I think there is a lot of job to be done also in the other countries, and we hope that this approach can also be a model in that. So mentioning this model and also the framework for this project, our main responsibility with my colleagues and especially Tiina Mäkelä, who is really a master of creating different frameworks and introducing various educational principles. So she led the work to create this modeling at school framework, which was really connected computational thinking concepts with the competence fields. She will talk more about this in her speech. And you can also check out this framework more in the website. And just to warm up a bit this scene before these upcoming talks, so we can see that computational modeling is in a wide range in complex systems all around us, from forecasting the weather, or if you want to build better vehicles, computational thinking is there. And also to see different complex processes around you, such as studying earthquakes, computational modeling is used, or even in your household, there are many machines around you which using computational modeling. Just your washing machine is definitely based on this approach. You can see this simplified model of a program from an everyday washing machine. But what about learning? How modeling can be used in learning? Tiina, could you say some words about what about schools?
Yeah. Thank you, Kristóf. Yeah, you can all hear me, I guess. Yeah.
Yes,
so,
we do.
Yeah. As Kristóf mentioned, I'm the frameworker. Actually, when we started with this project, I wasn't very familiar with modeling. My background is in humanistic sciences, languages, and history. But as Kristóf said, I like frameworks, and that's also kind of modeling, right? But here, the focus of this project has been how to use modeling in learning, how to use it as a tool for understanding, summarizing, presenting, memorizing different contents. And Kristóf already mentioned, but this work is very much related to learning 21st century skills. In European context, we talk about the key competencies for lifelong learning. Yeah, I think, Kristóf, you have to turn the slide, change the slide. The next, yeah. And so we've been investigating how all this relates to curricula, particularly in Europe, and how modeling and diagrams in particular can be used in teaching and learning as a powerful strategy. And nowadays, computational thinking, programming is also part of different curricula. At least in Finland, this is already integrated to our curricula, and teachers are very keen to understand how to teach these kind of concepts. If you go to the next slide. Yeah. So here you can, for those who are not familiar with this European key competencies for lifelong learning, here you can see, first you can see the key competence, and then what we were doing is we were connecting computational thinking and modeling and diagrams with different knowledge, skills, and attitudes related to key competencies. And we also created a connection between this and different school subjects, as you can see. Well, there are lots of examples in this presentation, but for instance, if we take literacy competence, you can use modeling when creating a storyline, or multilingual competence, learning different languages, you can practice grammar rules using modeling. Well, in mathematics competence, it's kind of natural that we use lots of different models. And if you go to the next slide, there's also competence in science, technology, and the one before. That competence in science, technology, and engineering, and also digital competence, they're kind of natural competencies when you work with modeling. Let's say different scientific rules and patterns, you need modeling. You can use modeling, or in robotics and programming, as already mentioned. But then modeling can also be used in let's say in more softer skills, in personal and social competencies. For instance, problem solving is a part of also personal and social competencies, and learning to learn competencies related to these learning strategies that we already mentioned. And for instance, well, not in all countries, but in Finland and in German-speaking countries, we have this home economic subject where you might need to use cooking recipes. So you can use modeling for that, for creating a nice cooking recipe. Okay, then there's one more slide of these competencies. Citizenship competence, different competencies related to history, geography, demography, climate change, and so on. In entrepreneurial competencies, for instance, you can use modeling for managing projects. And then in competencies such as cultural awareness and expression competence, for instance, if you create an artistic product, modeling and diagrams can serve for that. In the next slides, you have a bit more concrete examples of, and we focus particularly on diagrams and different diagrams, and how different diagrams can be used to support learning different subjects and different topics. Here you have, for instance, this example of the grammar rules. When you study English, you might have difficulties in understanding the comparison of adjectives. So this shows how to, when it's a monosyllable or longer words, how to use different endings when comparing adjectives. Or in political education, maybe the House of Parliament, how it works, you might use these diagrams. So this is the activity diagram example. Then in the next slide, you have the use case diagram. For instance, for physical education, when you have to demonstrate what are the different actions or roles of the volleyball player or the trainer. Or in economics, this example, I'm not sure if you can see them very well. They are quite small slides, but you can see the receptionist at the hotel and what are the responsibilities in relation to when working with the clients. So these were the use case diagrams. Then class and object diagrams, typically very useful for science learning. And for instance, here in the middle, you see the example from the geography, classifying different countries and their properties. Okay, then we have some more examples. Oh, by the way, in these examples, you can also see different ways to create these diagrams. You've seen like a post-its, or you can do it with the computer or drawings and so on. So you can see how it can be practiced with different techniques. This entity relationship diagram, here you have an example of the relationship between the sheep and the meadow and the what's that? I don't even see it by myself, the grass. So maybe for the primary school education. And the music education example is about different roles in a band. So these were some practical examples how diagrams can be used in different subjects. Maybe now, well, here you have, when we started working with these topics in Finnish schools, it was just the beginning of the COVID outbreak. So we thought it makes sense that we also deal with this topic using diagrams. Here you have one example of activity diagram in the case you suspect having coronavirus infection. This was in the beginning, in the spring 2020, and actually these instructions have changed millions of times. So it's not like that anymore, how we know the sudden changes, but this was the instructions in Finland at that moment when everything was still new. And then, Kristóf, you might put the video on. I could explain. So we had this introduction. We introduced different diagrams, and we were working with, for instance, with this COVID topic. And then we had one activity related to how to eat candies when there's a coronavirus. So this was related actually also to robotics and like human robots. I'm not sure, Kristóf, if you...
Yes, I'm
yes.
Starting that video right now. Just a moment. Yes, it will come here.
So you know, when giving instructions to robots, you have to think very carefully the step-by-step instructions. So the kids, and we were able to still to go to school, and kids were thinking of this, creating these instructions as a group, how to wash their hands or use the disinfection, and how to open the paper, wrap the paper, and so on. And after that, the other group had to test whether these instructions actually work, whether they could complete the mission. They were also using the 3D printer at that moment, and actually they were making the toothbrush cases. So after eating candies, it's useful to brush your teeth. And well, actually, Kristóf was there physically in this workshop, and I was working from online with my robot. So we were also testing, connecting the actual real robots with this activity. So here you can see lots of fun with Post-it. Then when we couldn't go to school anymore, we really missed his physical workshops. You can actually draw and build things. So this is one example from Finland, and we have, as said, we've been having these workshops with teachers and their students, and also directly with teachers. Well, both cases serve for teachers as a professional development when they see how their kids work or when they do them by themselves. So these were the examples from Finland.
Thank you very much, Tiina. So if I may continue for a minute. These are some of the examples of these materials which we use to describe these activities, and this is actually an open material bank. So we also we're looking for to get more materials from the schools but you can see also in this format a lot of examples which you can just take and realize in your classroom, in actually any kind of classrooms. There is also in the categories that which subject do we recommend to be connected, and some activities there are also multiple subjects listed there. So it's really welcome to implement in STEM or STEAM a concept in multidisciplinary learning. And let me use at least a minute for a very exciting program which might be continued also after this project. So we had a Diagram Guru challenge. So here we had this cat with this interesting diagram-based turban or whatever on her head, and she is a diagram guru, and she only talks the language of diagrams. So you can teach her anything. She's very clever, but only through diagrams. And in the Diagram Guru challenge, students were really eager to teach her about how to have the best day in your life, or how to use an equipment, or how to prepare for your favorite movies, and so many useful things in life. And for example, also to have the reality from the distance learning during COVID. So Diagram Guru Cat has been taught how is a day during COVID in life, and actually these wonderful diagrams are collected by the Jyväskylä University team. So you can also see this joy and this energy what these students invested into create these wonderful diagrams, and you can see that it really goes beyond the expectation what we might had with this whole project. And also there were students who was really eager to teach how to make a good photo and how to modify it with Photoshop. So students really also used it for peer learning as well, and also to make fun, and also there were a lot of funny details in many of these, or what about that this cat would travel to Paris, how she would enjoy Paris, and many different topics you can see also from video games. So many more I could continue, but I think the best if I give now the floor to Gregorio Robles from Spain. I'm sure that he can't wait to jump on stage. Thank you a lot, Tiina. Thanks for the attention, and now the floor is yours, Gregorio.
Okay, thank you. I'm Gregorio Robles from the Universidad Rey Juan Carlos in Spain. Let me see if I can share my screen. And I have a small presentation for you. I guess you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Perfect. Fantastic. So I would like to report a little bit on the Spanish experience from the project, because we went to the classrooms and tried this out with students. But first, I think our Finnish partners have given a good approach from the top, and now I'm going bottom up, because at the end, if you talk about models, the output are diagrams, and diagrams are a good idea. If you look at this diagram here, it expresses a software system. If you would have to do it in a natural language, that would be very much complicated than having it in a diagram. Even if you don't understand about software, or just with a few knowledge on software, you understand what is going here. So diagrams are good, but sometimes diagrams could be better. So if you look at this example here, this is a diagram where I found on the internet. It's very interesting because it shows a flow of somebody who goes from work to a meeting, and if you look at it, you need some time to understand it. So we know, okay, this is a diagram. We've seen diagrams are good, but then here this could be better. I mean, there's something here that could be enhanced, because you need probably 5 minutes to understand this diagram, and if we can do that in less time, then diagrams would certainly be better. Or this is another example. I as a non-native speaker, if you go, for instance, and to the US, and you're there in your car 90 miles per hour, and then you see this sign. And usually what happens, you don't understand anything because you're traveling that fast that hey, what's wrong with this? This is the same. This is much better. Actually, all the saying what it was saying was something like this in the and that's the nice things of having here diagrams, and with a little bit of of standards. Actually, if you drive through China, we moved from the US now to China, and you see this sign, then everybody, even if you don't understand Chinese, everybody will stop. I guess it says stop there. I don't know any Chinese, but that's the good thing of diagrams. And if we go to standardization, we found they're widely known in computer science. We got a unified modeling language where we have different ways of specifying different types of diagrams. So the computer scientists have been thinking a lot of time about how to have diagrams and to solve all these problems about talking the same language, using the same type of diagrams, using the same type of shapes, and so on. And then they have, as you see, this is a meta diagram. It's a diagram about diagrams, and they've found lots of types of diagrams. And so let me summarize. So if you have diagrams, you can abstract. No, you have to you have an idea and you have to write a diagram. Then you have to think about this idea, and usually you abstract. They help to communicate, because usually if you make a diagram good, you have this idea that you had in your head. You can, using the right shapes and forms, you can communicate to other people about your idea and clarify. A good diagram, sometimes they say an image is worth more than 1,000 words. Sometimes a diagram is worth more than the whole book, and that happens quite frequently, even with very complex, or I would say the other way, especially with very complex things, they clarify a lot. And then there are very interesting things for educational purposes. You can work very good in teams when working with diagrams, and that's even more than with text and so on. With diagrams, you will see some pictures, and you already saw the video, from Kristóf. You can work in teams. So, and they help transfer ideas and processes to other domains. They help summarize, remove redundancy. What's the important thing? Then you make a diagram of that. And diagrams are just, as I say, the output. Really the high level activity, the skill is modeling. So what you are doing is modeling, and the output is a diagram. No, it should be a proper diagram, but it's modeling. And this skill is very close to many of the skills that we try to promote when we promote computational thinking. We're talking about abstraction, about decomposition, about pattern recognition, even about having algorithms, because you can, you have seen in some examples, and I will show very briefly some examples where you see, you can here have a recipe, which is an algorithm for cooking. That's why we came together with our Austrian and Finnish partners and said, hey, this looks good. Let's try it out at school. And now, we got lucky because we got funded with an Erasmus Plus project. So we had some money to create materials, to test it. And as part of it, I want to present our experience testing it. We made the proposal before COVID. So our idea was to go to schools and see how our activities and materials were used in real scenarios. But then COVID came and we had to do it online. But here are the ideas. We create some resources. In this case, we create some ready to use videos and activities and guides for teachers. Then we promoted it because we had to do it online. So we were searching for teachers who wanted to introduce modeling in their classroom from all ages. And then we provided some support. We had some seminars and a mailing list, and we contacted them per email and per phone if they had problems and so on. And they had 6 weeks to work at schools with the models and with the activities and so on. We did a pre-test and a post-test because we wanted to have some scientific approach of all the proposal. And then we're in this phase where we are now looking and assessing our efforts. So as you see, we had some videos, some very short videos. They were thought really for primary school. So they show the concepts of modeling, which is very interesting because if you have studied computer science, usually modeling, they say this is for the master's level. So we are teaching modeling to primary school pupils. And as you see, we have very small, easy videos. They were focused on the Incredibles movie from Disney. And we had many participating schools, 17 in total from many regions in Spain. This is interesting because each region has its own educational path. So there are differences. So that means there's a diverse set of ages and educational environments that we were testing here. And then, well, you see here it's in Spanish, but you can see here this is a class diagram. This is the kids of the Incredibles. And then you see Violet, Dash, and Jack, and the age, the personality, and the superpower. And as you can see, in a very, even if you don't understand Spanish, you can see this is very structured and very, very simple. And actually, one of the things, it's easy or fast to translate. You can communicate very easy, and then if you translate the very few text, it's very understandable in any language. And this is a class diagram. That's one of the types of the diagrams. This is an activity diagram. Again, it's in Spanish, but you see here there is a process, and here something happens. This is a yes here, this is a no, and then things happen, and this is the start and the end. So as you see, with a very simple syntax, you can have a lot of expressive power here. So there were Blackboard activities at school. As you see here, this is the activity diagram there on the Blackboard. I was telling before, we could have group activities. And as you see, the kids had to do here some activities. These are the little bit younger kids. And then with the cards, they played together and saw how is here the process going on? How's the activity diagram? And we do it in groups, and we discuss it. And then the small groups, they did the same diagram, and then they compared to the other group and so on. And this was very, very interesting. And of course, this is now for the oldest ones. In the lab, there are many tools to create diagrams. So they worked in the lab with one of these online tools where you can create diagrams. At the end of the process, well, the kids did a post-test, and then they became a diploma, which they show here. So they were very happy about it. And here a little bit about the data that we gathered. As you see here, it's the age. So this is primaria, which is primary school. We have kids from 2nd to 6th primary school, and this is secondary school, the 4th year. These are the older ones. These are 15, 16-year-old. Here it's from 7 to 12. And as you see, you had a little bit of everything. Well, from primary school, the older ones were not that many. So we had in total over 500 students trying it, mostly, as you see here, orange, which is 4th. This is 10, 11. This is 11, 12 years. So that's the sample, the biggest share of the sample. Well, and here 11, 12, and so on. So that's the biggest sample that we have. And if you see, if you look at the pre and the post test, we had in the pre-test, I mean, in this test, we showed them things about modelings and about models and what they could see in diagrams and so on. And as you see after the intervention, they got all better. Sorry, they got all better in all the type of questions. If you want more details, I can share you afterwards some details. I don't have time for that, but yeah, the kids improved in the sense of to know what modeling is, how models are used, the diagrams, and things like that. So it's a small intervention, but well, we wanted to test it. Interesting, or the most interesting thing is the feedback by the teachers themselves. So because I come from a computational thinking background, and usually we give teachers tools like Scratch or App Inventor and so on. So teachers usually are very scared of technology, of new things in the in their classroom. Sometimes they fear the kids know more than they do themselves. Here, we got the impression that teachers felt that they were playing at home. If I can use the soccer, how the soccer teams say. No? So they were thinking, this is what I do usually, and I feel that I know a lot about my subject, and this is just a way of working with my contents with different tools. So modeling is very nice because teachers are very good at abstraction, at putting these diagrams. So letting the students do the diagrams, they found it was fantastic, and they felt really confident in then assessing the diagrams and making the students go in the right direction. So if you see here in the Likert scale from 1 to 5, the 4s and the 5, even the ease of activity is fun, it's motivating, and they thought the students developed modeling skills. So they were for us, it was pretty surprising because we thought modeling is more, the boring part. Maybe we have a computer science background, and we think the nice part is always programming and so on, where you have adrenaline and so on. And the students here, teachers and students, felt very, very nice with the modeling part. And this is when we asked at the end if they would do modeling again, and a majority of teachers, I mean, here, yes is blue, no is red, quizás is maybe. A big majority told you have to think these are self-selected teachers. This is not a random thing. But it was, for us, it was surprising because it was our first test. We didn't know where this would go, and we thought this comes more from you always, when introducing something new at schools, there's risk, and we thought it would be more more boring, but they were really enthusiastic about it. And we're talking about subjects that go from technology, maths, but also biology and history, things like that. So that's why we aim to see modeling everywhere. So if you have already seen Computational Thinking Guru, the website, so there you can find all our materials that we've done in English, German, Finnish, Spanish, some videos we with subtitles to English because teachers usually want it in the mother tongue, and some other ideas. So just visit the website, and I will happy to answer questions if you have. I don't know. Let me see if I have to stop sharing.
Thank you a lot, Gregorio.
Thank you.
It was wonderful. I suggest now that I start the video from the Austrian team who can't be here, and during that you will have time to check out all the chat line, and then we get ready for the discussion. All right. So I try to share my screen again.
I cannot stop sharing. I don't know if that's because I don't have permission.
Yeah, no problem. I think it will work from here. Just a moment. Yes, you see the video, I think. I will start it now. Okay.
A warm welcome to our session, Educational Pyramid Scheme, a Sustainable Way of Bringing Innovations to School. The Erasmus Plus project Modeling at School seeks to bring modeling as a teaching learning strategy into schools. My colleagues have just given you an insight into our work. They have shown how we used modeling in example diagrams in the classroom to enhance students' learning. Through this approach, we promote computational thinking in both students and teachers. Now I would like to highlight another core part of our project, the EPS, the Educational Pyramid Scheme. My name is Heike de Male-Meusel and I am part of the team at Johannes Kepler University in Linz, Austria. When we start a project in cooperation with schools, we always face the same challenge. How do we manage to integrate the content into the school system in the long term? Many projects create great materials that can improve teaching. Quality training is provided for teachers on how to work with these materials. However, the long-term effects of these interventions are often small. With the EPS, we created a way how to implement innovations in schools sustainable and cost-effective. The EPS was designed based on the pyramid scheme from the economy, whereby we have eliminated the negative effects because our currency is knowledge, and knowledge increases the more you share it. Now I will give you an overview of the 5 main pillars of the EPS. The first 2 points I will explain in detail in the next slide because they are really important. We focus on different target groups and foster their collaboration. Our target groups are pupils, students and teachers. To keep the extrinsic motivation high, it is important to implement a benefit system. The third pillar is that we provide continuous support to our partner schools. We offer weekly consultation hours, or we support our partner schools, example giving, in organizing a theme day to make the topic known in their school. The didactical methods of the EPS are based on effective and brain-based learning techniques. According to the train-the-trainer principle, the individual stakeholders pass on their knowledge by training other people who in turn became a trainer themselves, and again spread their knowledge. Sharing knowledge and instruction others provide a deeper understanding of the content. The participants acquire skills in computational thinking and transfer the knowledge to others as well as create materials. Creating materials is another core element of the EPS. So modeling as teaching and learning strategy can be spread within their own school and beyond. And this can foster the collaboration between different schools. What is really crucial of the success of the EPS is that participants have to implement the knowledge and skills mandatory in class. The application and practical implementation of new skills strengthen their competences in the field of computational thinking. Only in this way can theoretical knowledge be lived and the positive effects of modeling as a teaching and learning strategy can be achieved. Now let's have a look at the various functions in the EPS and the benefit system. We have different functions. You see it here. We have multipliers, mentors and tutors. The main task of multipliers is to keep the EPS running. They are the engine for implementation. They win over students and teacher colleagues for the topic, convince the principal, and are the interface between us, the university, and the school. Our multipliers are really motivated and the topic is very important to them, so they have a high intrinsic motivation. Nevertheless, we also offer benefits for them. At this point, I would like to say that the benefit system is variable and must be adapted to the framework conditions of the individual schools. The second one are the mentors. They are interested teachers and teacher students who implement modeling in the classroom together with the tutors. In our project, each mentor has 2 tutors, and they are working together and held little workshops in the class about modeling. The benefits, for example, besides learning a lot about computational thinking, are training units or ECTS credits. The tutors are pupils and they held together with the mentors workshops in different classes or support other pupils in using modeling as teaching learning strategy. What the tutors benefit most from is that they learn to hold workshops and how to support other students in the sense of peer teaching. Benefits for external motivation are extra points for participation from the teacher or a certificate from the university in Austria in basic digital education. By the way, in Austria, it is mandatory to teach basic digital education in school. Now I would like to present our first results from focus interviews with 11 tutors and from the formative evaluation with our partner schools. The tutors named 3 conditions of success we should focus. They have to be an expert themselves before holding the workshop, so the input phase can be extended. They would like a second point to have more tips and tricks on how to hold a workshop. We should focus on this more as well in the input phase. And they would like to have, at the third point, more support from the multiplier regarding to the framework conditions to be able to implement the EPS. The overall feedback from our partner schools was very positive. They gained valuable experience and developed their own skills and abilities. And in some they agree that the EPS is a practicable and efficient way to bring innovations to school. I hope you could gain a good insight into our work. I would like to thank you for your attention and we look forward to your feedback and suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the Austrian team. And I think our session is over now. And my colleagues, Tiina, Mäkelä, Gregorio, Robles are also here to answer your questions and comments in the discussion. Thank you a lot for your attention.
Thank you, Kristóf.
Thank you, Kristóf, very much. Quite an excellent series of presentations there. I'm very impressed at how you're working to help students to think through the process of problem solving and get to the core of how you work through things. That's very interesting. Are there questions from those in the in attendance?
I can't see any particular questions in the chat room. I can see some, a lot of people think it's very interesting work.
And I guess we were interested in finding more funding to collaborate with these topics. We had this discussion there, that, yeah, including the whole world, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but this is a topic that, like, countries around the world are introducing these topics to their curricula, so it's rather relevant, and we have good research going on in different countries, in different universities. So we would be happy to see possibilities to further collaborate.
Tiina, would you say that this Erasmus idea, where you collaborate in different European countries and everything, how does that bring an added value to that it's from different countries? Have you noticed that you see things very differently, for example, or?
Yeah, I think it's maybe not in the research, but in the practical applications. Our countries are so different, and like what works in Austria maybe it doesn't work in Spain or in Finland. And then in addition, now recently we have had this COVID challenge, so we have to be very creative when implementing different things at schools. In Finland, for instance, sorry, that's my computer. In Finland, our experience is that teachers, they really like to embed these activities to their everyday life. So if we want to offer them something extra, or even the professional development, that they have to go away from their school, and it's complex. But so our experience, we really like to offer them as example session, for instance, that we go to school. We discuss with the teachers that what are the topics they are working, and then we try to integrate whatever we do with their everyday existing work. So for instance, this is a great strategy in Finland to get teachers involved, that we just go to support them. And yeah, while in other countries it might be different, there might be like, for instance, in other countries, teachers need these different certificates for their professional development, but in Finland they don't really care about a piece of paper, but we don't get this kind of point. So you really have to plan these different sessions with teachers based on the system that you're working in each country.
Yeah.
You learn a lot, definitely.
I'm particularly intrigued by how you use the language differently around modeling and computational thinking than we do in the States. Modeling for us is largely connected with mathematical modeling, and computational thinking is coming into the vernacular, into our language through the work of like Conrad Wolfram. Do you see connections between what you're doing and the type of computational thinking that the Maths Fix, the book by Conrad Wolfram a year ago, do you see any connections being made there? I see a few, but I'm wondering if you've seen others.
If Gregorio is here, maybe proper use of modeling concepts is mainly his cup of tea.
Yeah,
I
can hear. So I have to say, yeah, I have a computer science background, so I use it. I use modeling, or I tried to evangelize modeling as it is done in computer science, and then maybe there is going to be a clash with how it is used in educational environments. I mean, in computer science, it goes far beyond than the mathematical models, which is by the way the first thing that most people think about it. So they in computer science, when they think about modeling, it's really we're talking about abstraction and communication, and then that's very tied to this UML language, which is out there for already 20 years, and as I say, one of the things. So this project started because I once visited Barbara in Austria during a conference, and then at the conference there was a session talking about how university students found modeling boring, and that this is a very high level mental activity and so on. So we should put it in the master's level and not undergraduate. And that was in the morning. And then during lunch, I visited Barbara, and then she was showing me she was using UML diagrams to teach languages to 6-year-old kids. And then I said, Barbara, we have to do something about it. And I guess Barbara comes more from the educational part, and here the interesting part of the project was more than the differences among countries, was the differences from between the perspectives that we have from modeling from where we come from, computer science and educational. And so I think I didn't answer your question, but you see there's some tension there, and yes, we still need to have definitions in both fields, that match each other, because probably we're sometimes talking about different things when we say the same word about modeling. So that
I believe so.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, the whole thing with because we try to promote these ideas for everybody. So it's like me, myself, and Kristóf, and we are not representing the computer science. We don't understand too much about it, and the whole message to the teachers is to use this kind of logic. We don't have to have a perfect diagrams. We take the idea and we use it in other contexts. So this is like broadening the whole concept of, I mean, modeling is everywhere and mathematics is everywhere, and so you can use them in all subjects. And this is something we kind of the big message of our project. I think that you don't have to be afraid of these things. I think I was it by myself in the beginning when we started, like, because if you represent different backgrounds, you might be afraid. So this is the big message. Don't be afraid of models and diagrams. They are just nice and they don't have to be perfect. You can use them for many things.
It's
Perfect. Yes, I think we're nearly at the end of our session. I don't know if Mr. Park wants to say something else.
오늘 저기 10회 그 세미나 너무 덕분에 잘 끝난 것 같아서 정말 감사합니다.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your participation to everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all. And we will see you in about a month.
So next month, okay. Oh, sorry to interrupt. Next month, we are going to have the ICAS conference. So on October 22nd, on Friday, October 22nd. So it will be streamed live on YouTube. So please join on the ICAS conference, and our special STEAM seminar will be back on November as usual.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Park.
Can you feel safe? Welcome to Finland.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tiina.
Bye bye.
Welcome and see you, Tiina.
Wonderful night wherever you are.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.